Hello everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and November 10th, 2022 marks 1 year ago on this day that we sadly lost our beloved voice of Batman himself, Kevin Conroy, at the age of 66 years old after losing his battle to cancer. So I am dedicating this video to the legendary voice of the Dark Knight, who he voiced for over 3 decades, from animation to video games to podcasts to even appearing on screen in live action as a one time appearance. You name it, Kevin Conroy had seen it all and done it all. And I wanted to take this opportunity to not only address Kevin Conroy's passing officially, but also talk about how important the man was, not just to myself, but to everybody worldwide. So, growing up, I was getting into the cartoons first before I got into comic books. And one of the first superhero shows that I ever watched was Batman the Animated Series, whether that was on Cartoon Network or on CITV or one of the German channels that we used to have in our old place. Whenever Batman was on, I watched it. And for me, when I first watched Batman the Animated Series, it was very different to anything I saw before, because with typical superhero shows, it was good guys versus bad guys, and good guys always came out on top. The end. But what I liked about Batman the Animated Series in particular, there was so much more to good versus evil. It dealt with feelings, human emotions, all sorts of personal things. And what I liked about Kevin Conroy in particular with his voice performance was he was able to make Batman and Bruce Wayne sound like two completely different people, even though it was the same guy. Batman, of course, was a man of few words, had a very deep and cold voice that would send chills down your spine. And Bruce Wayne's voice was very light and very laid back, and at times a bit goofy, depending on what he was doing at the time. But it was so interesting because the character, even though it was one person, he would completely change with whoever he was interacting with. So, for example, if Bruce Wayne, the businessman who runs Wayne Enterprises, he would be all business, but at the same time come across as not very bright. Or if he was with Alfred, he could just be himself because he's with Alfred, who was like a father figure to him and raised him after his parents were murdered. If he was with Dick Grayson, he would be more like a father figure slash parent to him. Now, on the other hand, when he was Batman, when he's with Commissioner Gordon, he was all business, super serious. And when he was going up against villains like the Joker, Two Face, or Scarecrow, or whoever the villain may be, he was man of few words, come in and basically put you down and take you out. Or if he was with a love interest, somebody like Catwoman or Talia al Ghul, he would still be super serious, but he would kind of let his guard down a little bit, but still be cautious. And that's what I loved about Kevin Conroy's portrayal. He was so highly versatile. He could do these different voices for one character, but they would sound completely different. Or even when Batman was interacting with other heroes like Superman, he would tend to rub Superman up the wrong way, and at times make fun of the fact that Superman was a Boy Scout, or if he was with someone like Terry McGinnis, he would be very grumpy and very stubborn. So it's amazing how Kevin Conroy gave so many different sides to the Batman character. And even in the Justice Lords episode, where we saw Batman going up against his counterpart, Batlord, it was one guy, but he was able to make both Batmen sound completely different. And I think that was one of his greatest performances in the DCAU. And even in the episode Per Chance to Dream, Kevin Conroy played essentially four different characters: Batman, Bruce Wayne, Thomas Wayne, and the alternate Batman in The Dream. And to me, that was what made Kevin Conroy set apart from all of the other different voice actors. And for me, Kevin Conroy was my Batman growing up. He was the voice of Batman, whether I was reading comic books, whether I was watching cartoons, no matter what, he was the guy. And Kevin Conroy voiced Batman for well over 3 decades, from Batman the Animated Series to the new Batman Adventures to the Adventures of Batman and Robin to Batman Beyond to Superman the Animated Series that he guested on for a number of episodes, the Justice League Unlimited, a couple of guest appearances in Static Shock, the Zeta Project, DC animated movies like Gotham Knight, Superman and Batman Public Enemies, Superman Batman Apocalypse, Assault on Arkham, the Arkham games, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Knight, Injustice. Kevin Conroy was so versatile and he meant so much to me. And I think I speak for everyone when I say this. Kevin Conroy is, was, and always and forever will be the true definitive voice of Batman slash Bruce Wayne. And how can we forget? Perhaps, for me anyway, his greatest performance as a voice for Batman, without a doubt, was Mask of the Phantasm. Return of the Joker is definitely up there, but for me, in terms of voice acting performance, Mask of the Phantasm was the greatest, and Kevin Conroy really stretched it out, gave Bruce Wayne and Batman so many different layers, so many different sides, and told such an emotional, powerful story. And for me, when I think of Batman animation, Mask of the Phantasm is right there at the top. And for me, that's Kevin Conroy's greatest performance as a voice actor. And also, he made a special appearance in Crisis on Infinite Earths, where he played a much darker, older Bruce Wayne, which was inspired by the Kingdom Come version of Bruce Wayne from the comic books. And again, he was fantastic. The only downside is the writing was a bit on the clunky side, but Kevin Conroy, he's such a pro. He made it work, and he was definitely one of the highlights of that 5 parts crossover event from the Arrowverse. And that really spoke a lot of volumes to me that had we had done a live action Batman movie or TV show, maybe back in the 90s or the early 2000s, Kevin Conroy would have been fantastic. But I'm really glad that we got to see Kevin Conroy in live action. Although it was only a one-time appearance, but I'm really glad that we got to make that a reality, and I'm forever grateful for Kevin Conroy getting to lend his hand in live action, and it's really spoke volumes to the man himself at how versatile he was as Batman. And for me, Kevin Conroy was the Clint Eastwood of animation slash voice acting. He was admired by the fans, respected by his peers. You know, he had such a presence to him that at times I often forget that it was Kevin Conroy because he had such a Clint Eastwood vibe to him. And he was a guy I always wanted to meet, but I wasn't really sure whether or not it was ever going to happen. So, fast forward to 2018, I learned the news that Kevin Conroy was going to be appearing at Comic Con in London one day, one off appearance. He was here in the UK to promote the Batman the Animated Series Blu ray box set, and I knew I have to meet Kevin Conroy. An opportunity like this may never come up again. Tickets were a bit expensive, but I didn't care. This was about Kevin Conroy and getting to meet the man behind the voice of the Dark Knight. So I went in there with my classic Batman shirt, got to meet the man himself. He complimented my shirt, and he was just a super nice guy, a class act, a man's man, and a real down to earth gentleman. And it's for me, it was like meeting Clint Eastwood. He was so cool. Got my picture with him, and the rest is history. I was so pleased to meet Kevin Conroy, and that was his only appearance, as I mentioned already. And that memory of meeting this guy who was such a huge part of my childhood for so many years, and just getting goosebumps talking about it. It was such a special moment. And what more can I say? I was so happy that I finally got to meet Batman himself. And that would pretty much be it. Kevin Conroy wouldn't make any more appearances in the UK, but I was okay with that because I got to meet him and got a picture with him. That to me was the best thing I could ever ask or hope for. And I cherished that moment pretty much for the rest of my life. So when I learned the news that Kevin Conroy had passed away, I completely broke down in tears. It was such a shock because this was a guy who meant so much to me, and it was a very hard pill for me to swallow because, Kevin Conroy was such a hero, not just to me, but to everyone. And to hear the news that he had passed away completely devastated me. And I just sat there in tears. I just couldn't believe it. I only just met him a few years earlier and he was gone. And that really, really hurts. And even as I'm talking about it now, it still hurts. And I think it's one of those losses I don't think I'll truly ever get over because he wasn't that old. He was only 66 years old. And I thought, yeah, this guy, he's still got a good, quite a good few years in him. We'll see him do more voice-over performances for animated movies in the next few years. Yeah, he's not going anywhere. And now that he's gone, as far as voice actors of Batman are concerned, there's this huge hole slash void that's been left. And there's lots of great voice actors, Reno Romano, Bruce Greenwood, you know, there's so many great voice actors who have done a superb job as Batman. But for me, the voice of Batman, those are pretty big shoes that I think can never be filled because what Kevin Conroy did for the character is forever embedded not just in the character itself, but in the legacy and history as well. And, as I said at the beginning, when you think of the voice of Batman, I guarantee you 95% of people will think of Kevin Conroy because he's the man. And, for me, I don't think things will ever be the same. And there's nothing to be ashamed of because Kevin Conroy leaves behind an amazing legacy and body of work, and we've got decades, not just years, but decades of amazing memories, amazing performances, tons and tons of animated movies and shows that we can just watch for generations to come. And Kevin Conroy, he's dearly missed by everybody, including me. And yeah, it's a real shame that he's no longer with us. But like I said, there's nothing to be ashamed of. He gave everything he had. He loved the fans so much, and I've seen that because I met the man himself. Such a amazing human being and very giving, and was always giving back to the fans no matter what. And he was a true once in a lifetime person. I don't think we'll ever see another Kevin Conroy in this lifetime, as far as I'm concerned. I think guys like Kevin Conroy are very special. I think guys like him only come once in a while. So I am forever grateful that I was born and raised and got to listen and watch Kevin Conroy every week on TV and provide epic memories for my childhood. And I will forever cherish them for the rest of my life. And as I said, meeting the man himself, that's one of those special moments that I'll take with me to my grave because that was something that meant a lot to me and it was a very big deal. So I'm going to wrap this up now. So I just want to say a special thank you to Kevin Conroy for all of the epic memories you gave me and the fans worldwide for well over 3 decades. Your memory and your legacy will live on forever. You will forever be the knight. You will forever be vengeance. And you will always and forever be, as far as I'm concerned, and I speak for everybody else, the true, definitive voice of Batman. Thank you, Kevin Conroy, for everything. And we miss you so much. And may you rest in peace.